Welcome to Spiritually United Paradox, Literacy, Language of the Heart Spirit Gathering. All our speakers are shared on our WhatsApp audio groups and our speaker channels. The links will be dropped in the chat. If you're listening to this recording and need help, we have a way that works. Please reach out to us by email at connect@sipx.world and the crew will reach out and get back to you. We've invited Brenda M from Los Angeles and Leslie S from Atlanta that will share for the next 70 minutes. The floor is yours, guys. Take it away, ladies.
Okay, Les, I'll go first and you follow.
Yes, ma'am.
How about
That's
that?
my sponsor. That's my sponsor. Okay, go. Yes, ma'am.
My name is Brenda and I am an addict. And I am an addict who got sober on August 5th, 1986, at a club in Los Angeles on 38th and Western. And the address was 3801 and the name of the group was Natural High. I walked in that room on August 5th, hoping that Cocaine Anonymous and the 12 steps and the meetings and the energy and everything in that room could really contribute to me not hitting the pipe one more day. I came into Cocaine Anonymous, and this has been my fellowship of choice for the last 39 years. Don't get it twisted. I love Alcoholics Anonymous and I go to AA. My sponsor's an AA sponsor. But guys, I didn't realize that I was an alcoholic until I read the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous and realized that I had been drinking like an alcoholic since I started drinking. But cocaine was such a force. It was a phenomenal force in Los Angeles in the 80s. It was the epidemic of crack cocaine coming into the community. And so many of us got swept away. And walking into the experience, I came here hoping you guys could help me just have a glass of wine with dinner or just, be able to smoke a marijuana stick every now and then. I didn't really come here. And so if you're new, let me take a step back. If you're new to the fellowship, I want to invite you to stay. I want to invite you to plunge yourself into this world. The big book says that no human power can relieve my alcoholism, my addiction, that I had to find a power greater than myself. And I believe that with all of my heart. And I also believe that there is power in our like intention. When I walk into a room, when I log onto a Zoom meeting, there are people that have the same intention that I have. They're in they're navigating, they're thinking, they're obsessive thinking around whether or not taking a hit is a good idea. They're navigating the second part of step one, where their lives have become unmanageable. Their emotions are completely out of control. We're Leslie and I do a 12 and 12 study, and we're in step four, and we really in that reading in the 12 and 12 where they're talking about step four, they talk about natural instincts that have gone awry. So things that that God gave you to survive on the planet and thrive on the planet, those instincts have gone awry. And so we come here thinking, I just really want to put this dope down. I just really want to leave this needle alone, this pipe that I just want to get rid of this. And when that is done, all will be well. But what we learn is that that's kind of not true. I love the format of this meeting. It just really confirms for me, and I'm so grateful that CA is a worldwide fellowship. When I came here in 1986, it was not. I was here when the fellowship was just a couple of years old, and it was like the wild, wild west. But guess what? We stayed. Why? Because we were desperate. And I'm just really grateful that I've been around here long enough to see this metamorphosis of an international experience and fellowship. So thank you for that. Thank you to the trusted servants that invited us out. Thank you for all the people who came, who love me and who come to support us and who really make my life a life that is pretty freaking outstanding. And it has to do with the people, like Billy. Billy follows me around like a stalker. I love that shit. When you look up and you see somebody and they've heard your story and they know your story and they come to hear what you have to offer. My job here is to tell you what happened and what my life, what evolved, what it was like, what happened, and what my life is like today. And I want to spend more time in what my life is like today, but just to qualify, um, like I said, 1986, I was walking to dope houses and didn't want to go. I was drinking tequila at bars and blacking out and waking up with strange people, and I was devastated. I was one of those people that would sit in a room with a bunch of other people and we'd be smoking and we'd be talking and we'd be plotting how to get another one and plotting how to get money. We'd be stealing dope from each other and helping the other one look for it. We were in a space of insanity. And at some point, I remember this particular day. There was no more dope, guys. There was no more alcohol. There was no more plans. We were sitting around looking at each other, ashy with dry mouth, and just the book calls it pitiful and incomprehensible demoralization. And I remember that feeling. I can close my eyes and go back and remember November 1986, my very first marathon at 3801, the Natural Eye, and I went back to the place that I used. And we were having a Thanksgiving celebration and people were bringing food and it was very festive and I was excited. So I decided, like, and if you're new, don't do this. I decided to go back to the place where I used to drink and use and invite them to come to the meeting because I had found a solution. Now, understand, I got sober in August, so this is November. I only been sober a couple of months. I have no idea what I'm doing, but I go back over there, and in the morning they were sitting around looking like what I described, and I came in and I said, you know what, guys, I'm gonna go and I'm gonna bring some food and I'm gonna tell you a little bit about what these people have told me. I think we should all be doing this. And so I left and I was gone for quite a while, went to the marathon, got a plate, took it back over to the house. His name was Billy. I was at Billy's house. Billy, it was a guy named Billy. May he rest in peace. And by the time I got back, they had some dope and it was on and cracking. I have to tell you, I walked in that house and I was terrified because I heard one of you guys share how dangerous it was for me to go back into that environment. That the pull of alcohol and drugs, I was not strong enough to do that. And so it was in November that I finally decided it was a good idea to get a sponsor, right? Why am I telling that story? Because it is this time of year where festive things are happening. Here in the United States, we're celebrating Thanksgiving now. If you guys are like me, Thanksgiving is a daily, round the clock, 24/7, every single day. I have a gratitude journal that every single day I write 3 things that I'm grateful for. The women that I work with, that I sponsor, I give them instructions. Please, right, every day, 3 things. I mean, they don't have to be big things. I'm grateful for the little hummingbird that finds its way every day. I sit in my chair in the living room, and this little hummingbird, she comes every single day to feast on this plant outside of my window. And I'm so grateful for that connection with that little living thing. It makes me feel good. So, so coming to understand my connection with you, my connection with the universe, my connection with all that is around me. I didn't come here for any of that, people. I came here because I had a WWA. I had a well-whooped ass. Who am I? I'm the oldest of 8 children, born to a mother who was a teenager and very, very, very dysfunctional and emotionally imbalanced. And she was trying to find her way and she wanted somebody to love her. And she decided that if she had kids, she'd have somebody to love her unconditionally. And I was the very first one. Had a grandmother who was an alcoholic and a workaholic who went to work and drank on the weekends, and she was my hero. I'm a girl that at the early age of 5 or 6 decided that the world could not be trusted because people lied to me. Don't lie to your children because they figure that shit out. That was just a public service announcement because I realize now that they were just doing the very best that they can and they were giving me all that they had. My grandmother was the perfect alcoholic. She didn't drink from Monday to Friday. And then on Friday, me and my sister went to the store, got a gallon of wild turkey, and my sister we got a carton of cigarettes, a gallon of wild turkey. And from that point on, it was on for my grandmother, and we were her audience. We watched the alcoholism as it flourished in our household, and she would drink until after the Ed Sullivan show on Sunday. Some people know what I'm talking about, others do not. Ralph White, he knows what I'm talking about, the Ed Sullivan show. And then so we knew when Ed Sullivan went off, it was time to go to bed and grandma would stop drinking and it was time to get ready for the week. And this happened over and over and over and over again. So eventually, I had to have some of that wild turkey. So I put it in a glass and I drank it and it gave me a sense of peace. I can remember being a very young child and feeling the energy in my house, feeling that something is wrong. I don't know what it is, but we had a discussion last night. Leslie was talking about how children feel stuff, and you say one thing, but your behavior says something else, and how confusing that can be, and how we can grow up in that state of confusion. And then I had this 12-year-old mindset that nobody could be trusted because I had been lied to. And they told me my grandmother was sick, but I wasn't able to go to the funeral. So again, I'm sure these people were trying to protect me, but it just sent me into confusion. And so when I was a really small girl, I would go in the backyard and I would turn around really, 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 really fast. I would run. I would do anything that I could. Why? Because I like the feeling of being dizzy. So the first time I smoked a cigarette, I liked the feeling of my consciousness being interrupted. First time I smoked marijuana, the first time I shot cocaine, the first time I shot heroin, the first time I took a pill. I'm always looking for ease and comfort as it's outlined in the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous. I was restless, irritable, and discontent when I was 10. And I continued in that quest, in that energy of I just want to feel better. I just want the suffering to stop. And for a little while, when I took the drink and the pill and the this and the that and the this, it did. 1986, well, with Das, step into a meeting, and my whole life changed. Didn't come here to want to implement spiritual principles into my life. Didn't come here wanting to have the power that the 12-step process gives me. Now, a lot of people are saying, what's she talking about? We powerless. And in step one, yeah, I'm powerless over whether or not I'm going to take a hit or a drink or a pill. But as I go through and navigate this process, first 3 steps, 2 conclusions, 1 decision. I make that decision. Oh, that was a hard decision because, again, remember, I don't trust nobody. But I trusted you. Why? Because you had the courage to tell your stories. The first time I heard someone tell the story that they had been abused and that they had been physically molested, I was catapulted into the 4th dimension listening to that. Isn't it amazing how our stories change our lives, but they change the lives of other people? Stories are powerful. So I hear the stories, and they're so free in telling the stories. I'm like, oh, something's up here. So I write an inventory. I realized that my basic instincts were out of whack. They were warped. I have this conversation with this man in a park, Griffin Park, and he's not scared of me. He's not afraid of my anger. So as I'm reading all of this resentment and how I hate internal revenue and how I don't want to pay taxes and I hate the school system because they're going to charge me a fortune to get a degree and and I hate my boss and I hate my uncle and I hate and as that emotion built in me and as he was listening to me, all he said was, "Okay, who's next?" And then he showed me the pattern of my behavior, how it was me and my thinking that had turned on me. And it's really messed up when someone tells you you have a condition that you can't do anything about, that you're powerless. But I accepted that. But the point that I want to make is after I went through this work, did step 5, and then in step 6, I believe, and this is my own personal interpretation, so that's what I got for y'all, is that 6 and 7 were me entering for the first time into a contract with spirit. I say in step 6, I am entirely ready to give up the things in my life that have caused me to suffer. And then I make this contract with spirit that says, and I'm giving it to you because I trust that you will fix it. And so I engage in this contract, and that contract for me gave me the willingness to go to step 8 and look at that horrible list of people that I had harmed. It gave me an incentive to want to restore relationships with my family. It gave me that contract, that being entirely ready. Now, let me just be honest, because I think honesty is really sexy. I was around here for 5 years and I was still doing shit. I was still shoplifting. I was still lying. I was still doing some stuff because I didn't know you took my stuff. I'm addicted to drama, chaos, confusion. Not only was I addicted to the drug, I was addicted to all the shit that goes on with the drug. I remember leaving a dope house. And as I was leaving, the police was coming. That shit was so exciting to me because I'm addicted to drama, chaos, and confusion. So when I came here and you took the drug, I still had the addiction to drama, chaos, confusion. So I'm gonna go in this store and I'm gonna take this mascara and I'm gonna put it in my pocket. And I felt a sense of, whew, ha, ha. And then I went to my sponsor and I told him, he said, "Girl, you're gonna go to jail for an $8 tube of mascara and you got $25 in your pocket." Do you see the insanity of that? That is the insanity of step 2. That it's not the stuff I did once I got drunk or once I got high. It was the fact that I could negotiate and tell a story again to myself that made it okay. It's okay. You can steal some mascara. Who's gonna know? And then my sponsor shook me back to reality. You're gonna get caught if you keep doing this. But the point that I'm trying to make is that when I said I was entirely ready, I was just only kind of entirely ready. I was ready to give up the stuff that was causing me immediate grief, but I wasn't willing to give up some of the behaviors that I believe were still working for me. Oh God. Step 8, that list. I had to put my list in buckets. I had to put them in buckets. I had bucket number 1, which was my mom and my sisters who loved me, who supported me. My sister who said, "Girl, if you relapse, it's okay. We still gonna love you." My sister who came to every meeting with me for the first 6 months that you guys thought she was in the fellowship. My relatives who didn't even believe, because see, I still had a job. I still had some stuff. So they're like, "You're not no addict. You just need to get your shit together and get something." I'm like, okay. But I wanted them to know the truth about me. And so I was ready. Bucket number 1, I was ready. Bucket number 2, maybe not so ready. Yeah. If the situation presents itself, I'll do it. But I don't really want to. I don't really want to call Internal Revenue and give them my money, but I will if I have to. I don't really want to revisit those school loans. I feel like they don't need my money. I don't really want to go back to my ex-boyfriend and let him off the hook for the abusive behavior. I don't really want to do that, but he's on my list. So he's in bucket number 2. Will if I must, and I'm only going to do it if circumstances present themselves. And then I had the last bucket, the fuck it bucket. Never gonna happen. Told my sponsor, not gonna do it. I don't care what you say, not happening. And he said, okay. So I went about bucket number 1, and it was pretty good. It was pretty, my family and friends, they loved me. My best friend, she was only mad that she didn't know how I was suffering. She's like, girl, you should have told me. I would have tried to help you. Bucket number 1, done. Bucket number 2. Okay. Now, bucket number 2, amazing how it happened, I don't know. But bucket number 1 became bucket number 2, and I had this huge amount of willingness to do this. And then bucket number 3 became bucket number 2. And then that's how I did my amends. I had to bucket them up so that they could be palatable because it was overwhelming to me. And I'm not talking about a whole lot of, I think with my family, my financial amends, and my institute, it was maybe 11 people, but it took me a year because I'm a defiant person, right? So when defiance kept me stuck. So I went down to step 9, and I remember the one amends that stands out in my mind was I went back to an ex-boyfriend that I had lived with. Now, understand, all my relationships before recovery were transactional. He got an apartment. I just got kicked out of this place. So he's got a house. So I'm going to be his girlfriend because he's got a house. They were all transactional. He had something I wanted. I had something he wanted because, I was using my vagina as currency, coochie coupons, we call them. And that's how I spent them, by having these transactional relationships. And I remember going to him saying, I'm in this program and I'm trying to get better and I'm here to make amends and I forgive you for harming me and beat me up. And he looked at me and said, girl, what? Every time I hit you, you hit me first. I was like, what? Because see, I was a mean drunk. And he wasn't that kind of boy that would let me slap him without slapping me back. So that's what he did. But in my mind, the story was a completely different story. And I'm going to take a moment to say this. Beloveds, it's not the story that other people tell about us that changes and transforms us. It's the story that we tell about us. So if I tell myself the story that I am not enough, I am not good enough, I am not smart enough, I'm not tall enough, or I'm too tall, nobody likes me, they don't speak to me. If I'm telling that story and I'm creating the energy of that fear story, I'm actually inviting the universe to give me more of that. But if I can have someone, a sponsor, to help me see the truth, the love story. Because my belief is that we only have 2 real emotions, and everything else flows from either I'm afraid or I'm in love. So I'm in love or I'm in fear. And fear is the predominant emotion that the ego uses to keep us from having access. The book says it blocks me from the sunlight of the spirit. So I worked through those steps. And I got all the stuff you guys told me I had to get. I got a man, a big, tall, black, beautiful man, and he was a minister. I'm like, shit, I'm cooking on, I'm the shit. I got a job that's paying me a really nice living. I'm able to be fully self-supporting through my own contributions. Hold the phone. In 1996, I bought a house. What the hell? I am in recovery, y'all. Everything is going my way. I have friends. I have a couple of sponsees. I'm sponsoring Leslie. I'm going to church. Things are happening. I moved to the Bay Area to take a promotion. And I got completely convinced that all I needed was all the stuff I just mentioned to you. All I need is a good this, a good man, a good this, a good reputation. All I need, and I will be fine. But me, Brenda, the defiant one, the one who's afraid to be wrong, the one who is terrified of being alone, the one who is terrified that I'm not smart enough. One of my favorite stories, I was in the workplace and I worked in human resources for a very long time for a pharmaceutical company. And so there were doctors and engineers, and I did training. And I remember the fear. The fear had me bullying people because I didn't feel like I was smart enough to be in the room with these people, let alone teaching them something. And one angel, this guy was an angel. He came to me in humility and he said, Brenda, you're a 6 foot tall Black woman. You scare us when you walk in the door. You don't have to bully us. Because I was a bully. I was like, if you're not here at 9 o'clock, I am going to get started. And no, I will not be going back to go over the material. You need to be here on time. And and blah, 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 blah. And if at lunchtime you don't come back, I mean, I was horrible, but it was all fear. And when he said that to me, I snapped. Now, first I was mad. I'm like, how dare you say that to me? But he was right. The spirit of the universe comes from all places, not just in these rooms. Sometimes people come to you with a message that is uniquely designed for you. And that's what that young man did for me. And he helped me snap back. And what happened as a result of that, I had to call my sponsor and I was telling him some things that were happening in the church because I was a horrible preacher's wife, y'all. Cussed the preacher out in the parking lot at the church, cussed the deacon board out. I was horrible. Because again, I'm defiant and I don't like authority. And these people were trying to exert themselves as being an authority in my life. And I was like, nope, I'm in recovery. Uh. But I was suffering. So I called my sponsor, may he rest in peace. And I said, what's going on? And he asked me a simple question that I always share this story because it was the beginning of me having a completely different experience with this work. He said, I thought you made a decision to turn your will and life over to the care of God. Did you forget? What happened? And he's right. I had forgotten because I was under the belief that recovery had to do with external, the things that I had, my reputation, but it's not. It's about, and then and I was 27 years sober. I wasn't no newcomer, right? And I had to shift. I had to pivot and go back and do. And he put me back in gratitude. He said, well, what are you grateful for? Richard was good at he called it a balance sheet. You know, like businesses have a profit and loss sheet. He would have me just put and I still ask people to do that today, plus, minus, line down the middle of the paper, what's good, what's not. And believe it or not, I had more things good that were going on, but I chose to tell the fear story about the short list, right? And so that fear story, I was over. I don't have this. She got promoted. I didn't get promoted. I can't believe she said that to me. What is the matter? I spent all of my time in the future or in the past. So I didn't get access to the beloved, loving energy of present moment. I didn't get that because I wasn't living in that space. And so at 28 years sober, I started that journey. It's brought me to where I am today. And at 72 years old, my life is all about being simple. Kiss, keep it simple, sister. Don't make shit complicated. When women sponsor me and we're talking about spiritual principles, I hear them say stuff like, yeah, forgiveness is good, but you can't, yeah, but the spiritual principles. Now you can say, I'm not quite willing yet. It's okay. And because I'm 72 years old and 39 years sober, I say exactly what I want to say. And if you guys judge me, that's not my problem. I hear all the time, acceptance is the key. And I think to some extent that's true. But beloved, not everything is acceptable. Not everything's acceptable. There's some things that I need to set boundaries and say, you know what? I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to accept that behavior. I'm not inviting that energy, that behavior into my space. I don't want it. I don't have to accept bad behavior. I don't accept people. You don't have permission to talk to me with disrespect. You just don't have my permission. And so I get to walk away when I'm being treated with disrespect and disregard. But what I do know is that I have to accept things exactly the way they are. It's not the situation that causes me pain and suffering. It's my resisting the situation as it shows up. It's my resisting that you're not going to respect me. And so I may have to revisit my relationship with you and come up with boundaries, come up with things that will allow me to be neutral toward you. Because I don't live in a space of not liking, wrong, right. I live in a space of, is this effective, Brenda? Is this getting you the outcome that you want? Are you at peace? Because at my age, the primary goal for me is to be calm. Page 86 of our book says, Brenda, ooh, girl, take it easy. It says, relax. Don't struggle. All is well. All is as it should be. Don't resist what is. It's okay. You're safe. You're sane. And you're sober. You're grateful. I'm grateful for that hummingbird. I'm grateful for a good cup of hot coffee. I'm grateful when it rains. I'm grateful when the sun is shining. I'm grateful for a good murder mystery where I can't figure out who done it. I'm grateful for a wonderful book that I can't put down. I'm grateful for trips to the Caribbean. I'm grateful for a husband who loves me in spite of me. I'm grateful for the women that invite me into their lives to witness their journey. I'm grateful for Cocaine Anonymous. I'm grateful for Alcoholics Anonymous. I'm grateful for Overeaters Anonymous. I'm grateful for any spiritual mechanism that is inviting me to be my highest and best self. I'm grateful that you're here. I am. My biggest character defect is sometimes I want more for you than you want for you. And then I get mad at you because you don't want for you what I want for you. I can live with that. I believe that it is my responsibility to pray for you. I believe it is my responsibility to sit long enough to tell the difference between my ego voice and my spirit voice. So I'm grateful that I can sit in meditation in step 11 for 30, 45 minutes to an hour. I'm grateful that I have developed the skill and the desire to do that. I'm grateful. I'm happy most of the time, but I don't seek happiness because happiness is fleeting. If I go outside and my car's on a flat, I ain't gonna be happy. But joy is profound. Joy is an inner experience that no one can take away from me. I seek joy. And I love that you read the 11th step prayer. It says, may I bring joy. May I seek to be comforted rather than to comfort you than to be comforted. May I have the ability to forgive you even when you do shit that doesn't really deserve to be forgiven, because forgiveness is about me letting you off the hook. I am grateful. So I send with all of my heart and every cell in my body, send you love, light, wellness, and healing. Namaste. Thank you.
Thank you, Brenda. I was trying to unmute. My name is Leslie Strange. I'm a recovering alcoholic and an addict. My sobriety date is November 2nd, 1988. And I have been dealing with my alcoholism and getting to know who I am and who I'm not. Walking in a spiritual trajectory as best I can. Being of service, helping others, all at the same time examining myself on a regular basis, but with the guidance of a sponsor that you just heard. I met Brenda in the rooms of Alcoholics Anonymous when I was brand new. I was 28 years old. I didn't have any children. I had my own apartment. I worked at the phone company. We're both from Los Angeles. And as I've developed and grown alongside her, walking side by side with her, uh, we both have expanded so much that this is not the Brenda that I met. Now, Brenda's always been a calm spirited person. I've always been the wild one. I've always been the girl that goes to the conventions half naked with see through everything on. I've always been the girl that had boyfriend, husband, stuff going on. See, Brenda was on the stealth mode. If she did anything, I never knew about it. Me, I'm front row center with stars and spotlights. That's, you know what I'm saying? And then everybody knows because I done told everybody. I was 28 years old and I looked up to Brenda because I'm going to go back and tell you what it was like. I looked up to Brenda when I came into rooms. Let me go back to that. And because I used to go to these meetings, the same place she went to, and the stories that the women told scared the hell out of me. And as you hear my story, you'll know why. I wasn't gangster. I didn't tote guns. I didn't cut people. I did one 5-day stint in jail for being a horrible prostitute. I think I got maybe 20 days standing out on Sunset and got arrested by a man in a postman's uniform. And I was hooking with a job working at MGM and I was making real good money. Now, I got a job. I live with my mother. I'm making stupid money at MGM. I have a boyfriend who's using my car. I would drop the car off to him so he could go do whatever running around he wanted to do at his apartment, living with my mom. Then I'd walk 2 blocks to work. And then late at night, I'd go up on Sunset to make more money. What sense does that make? I was 18 years old. I was in a very early on in the depths of my disease. I didn't even know it yet. So when I would go to meetings, I would hear these devastating stories. It was like hood books. I don't know if anybody's into literature, but there's a certain genre of books that are all about, like 50 Cent wrote them. I mean, they're thug. I loved reading that kind of stuff because I didn't live that life. So I'd like to hear about the gangsters and the prostitutes and the hookers and all that kind of stuff. As a kid, I'd read everything. And their stories were like hood books, like Snowfall, these shows on TV. So I would be amazed, but I was also terrified and intimidated because these women looked like they walked like they talked, and they talked real gangster. And one day I was getting ready to walk out of a meeting. I think I may have had 30 days, and I was headed out of the meeting because I just couldn't get with the back-to-back thugette stories these women were telling, and some of them into. And Brenda's best friend is Gail, and Gail was sitting by the door as the greeter, and I was walking out, and Gail happened to say, "Where you going?" And I said, I'm just not getting this. This is Cocaine Anonymous. I didn't do all of that because I thought it was identifying with the actions. I didn't do all of that. And Gail said, "Well, why don't you just sit back down and keep coming until you hear your story?" See, remember, I had a job and all the things. I came in, I had braces, I had dental insurance. I mean, I had a mom that raised me on the West Side and had a younger brother, and I couldn't identify. And I guess I missed the part when they say identify with the feelings and not with the actual situations. I couldn't get with that either. And so I went back in, I turned around and I sat in that meeting. And I really think back today, I think that was the thing that saved my life. I came in one time, took a white chip, but no telling how close I was. I was less than 30 days when I did that about face. The ironic thing about that is I had met Gail a couple months before. The guy I was dating was best friends with her boyfriend. I did not know Gail. And it was a fight party or Super Bowl party or something or whatever. Not a fight Super Bowl party, but a fight party or some kind of sport party. And I noticed we were all drinking and smoking pot and getting it in, couples of lines here and there. We weren't hitting the pipe in the daytime at that time. And I noticed Gail didn't take a drink. And I remember distinctly her face. So when I came to 3801, 28 years old, I saw her face and I reminded her, and she remembered. I remember asking her, why don't you drink? She said, I just can't. So here we go. And here's the irony and the spiritual aha moments that one of them that came to me is that I meet this girl at a meeting. She convinces me to sit down. She also turned out to be one of my sponsors. She also turned out to be the first person that heard my first fifth step. But in the midst of all of that, I'm sitting here and I'm in this meeting. I'm going, okay, I'm going to sit in this meeting and I'm going to stay. And one day, going back to that meeting, I see this tall Black lady. And she was suited. She had on a suit. She had her purse. She was put together. She wasn't gaudy. She was corporate-y looking. She looked like a boss, not like they use it today. She looked like an actual boss of something. And it was Brenda. And when she got up there, she told my story. She told my story about how she had a job and how she did these things and how she smoked crack. And I was like, oh my God. But she spoke with such eloquence. She didn't cuss a whole lot. And I'm a cusser. I mean, just everything. So I wish I could rewind in my mind the moment I went and asked Brenda to be my sponsor, but she ended up being my sponsor. And because of circumstances and life growing up, she was my sponsor for a long time. Brenda moved from Los Angeles. I got married in the fellowship, moved to Germany. I came back at 4 years sober, and Brenda came back a little bit later, but we always kept in touch. And because for the sake of time, I won't go into the whole thing, but what I will tell you is we've always been kindred spirits. We've always had things in common that were juxtaposed to each. They were right. They were in alignment with each other's life. Brenda's mother died on Mother's Day in her sobriety. My mother died 2017 on Mother's Day. Who figured? I used to style hair. I used to do hair, and Brenda ended up moving later in my sobriety down the block from me, about 4 houses down, 4 or 5 houses. I used to walk down to her house and sit down at her house and just hang out with her. This is years and years going on. Who does that but God? And all the places in LA and all the people in LA, she lives right down the street. I said, there's an apartment for rent down the street. And she went and rented this beautiful little fourplex. And my mother used to do nails, and she was up the block from me. And I used to do hair. So I would do Brenda's mother's hair every week. And Brenda used to get her nails done by my mom every 2 weeks. So what am I saying? I'm saying that if you haven't found the fellowship you crave, if you haven't found anybody you can align, that your souls can kiss, that you can hug heart to heart, that you could talk heart to heart, keep searching, keep seeking, stay, and that person will show. If you're awake and you're aware and you need it, that person will show. Person will show up in your life and be your right hand, and they will walk arm in arm with you. And then no longer am I terrified. No longer am I as afraid, because I still have fear. So what I used to be like was I was the oldest of 2 children. My mother was a single parent, cut to the chase. She was raised in LA herself, although she was born in San Diego, California. She married my dad after she got out of the Army. My mom was an Army vet, which was rare for Black women. All the bad Black boys went to the Army or they went to juvenile hall. But, that was one of the 2 choices they had back in the 50s and 60s. And my mother just wanted to go to the Army. She was a single parent as well. And she got out of the Army. She married my father, and my father was a nutcase. And she ended up leaving North Carolina, Fort Bragg, and brought me, and she was 6 months pregnant with my little brother, Chris. And she came home. Was a great caregiver. She was a great taker care of. Got my hair done all the time and had my own room and all the good things that mothers should do. Now, this was not my story that I would start with back in 1988. Because 1988, my mother was a B. I couldn't stand her. She was jealous of me. She ruined her life by having kids at 20. She got beat down by men because she picked the wrong men. I mean, I took her entire inventory my entire life. Everything she said, everything she did annoyed me. Everything she said was abusive. It was mean, all that. But what has transformed is not my mother, even though she has passed on and gone on to the other side. It's my perspective of what my mother really was. And I took out the fear story, like Brenda said, and I took out, you guys helped me get rid of the lie. The lies I told myself, because if you don't feel sorry for me, I'm going to feel sorry for me. I think the book calls it self-pity, self-seeking, selfishness. I'm going to make myself look like the victim so bad that you can't help but feel sorry for me. And one of the things I can say when Brenda was talking about the misinterpretation of my instincts, I don't trust my instincts. By the time I stopped hitting the pipe, I don't trust my instincts because every time I intended to go to the club, have one drink and come back, the next day I'm waking up with a walk of shame with my shoes in my hand, not knowing where I parked my car. Who was that guy I woke up with? Why did I do that? They were used, Tom? Think so. Oh my God, I'm pregnant again. That was my routine. That was my routine. With drug came consequences. Low self-esteem. If you're suffering and you're new from low self-esteem, because we don't do esteemable things, because 9 times out of 10, you don't know what those things are because you're blocked. Why? If you're anything like me, I'll talk about me. I was blocked. My mother gave me instructions on how to brush your teeth, how to put on blush correctly, how to put a slit underneath a dress that's kind of sheer, how to wear a bra, all those things. I was given principles like say thank you and please. My mother would say things like this. My first smile to my mom, she said, don't get over here and embarrass me in front of these people. Or if you go spend the night over your friend's house, don't go over here and let me get a report back that you showed your behind. See, I was given some stuff. And I was able to pull most of them off. But sometimes I'd have that one friend and we'd sneak out and we'd get some drinks and we'd get a little bit of that dirt weed marijuana that gave you a headache and made you get the munchies and eat the bags of Doritos and get the giggle on. See, that's when getting high was fun. That was pre-cocaine era. Smoke a little weed, have a little, what is it? Pink champagne. It's kind of like beer, kind of like wine, but not really. It gets you there. And all I wanted to do was get there. I didn't want to think about my mom. I didn't want to think about the boy who didn't like me at the school dance. I didn't want to think about, was I going to go to college or not? All I knew was I wanted to get out of my mom's house so I could be grown. You know how we tell, so you think you're grown. Yeah, I thought I was grown because I had an apartment, I had a job, and I could do what I want to. So I couldn't wait till I was 18 to get out of my mother's house. And that's exactly what the universe let me do. See, I go into smoking. I was introduced to smoking by a friend's girlfriend. She was a little bit older than me. I was like 18 and she was in her mid-20s, about 24, 25. And my friend who dated her, her real man was a big time Los Angeles drug dealer. And all she did was take an attaché case full of money, sounds like a movie, and deliver it up on Sunset to some Italians, nevertheless. Dumb. I have no clue that I'm in danger. Stuff could have went down, but I'm going to tell you one thing that I found out on this side of recovery. I found out the reason why I end up in the graveyard in these lurid haunted mansions and all these Hollywood parties and all these things. It was grace. I'm going to talk about grace because I'm just getting to understand and fully understand and embrace grace. If you're on here right now and you've escaped one more time jail or death or rape or dismemberment or all the bad things that can happen to us as human beings, whether we're self-imposed or not, I'm here to tell you from my experience and listening to the experience of my predecessors, I'm here to tell you that's grace. See, grace is what saved me. Grace is what that last hit, and I tried to take a hit and a drink and a pill and a fix and nothing worked. And then I tried it again. I said, okay, I'm experimenting. Maybe I'm rushing this thing. Maybe I'm trying to get high too fast. And I did it again and nothing worked. I don't know if you've ever experienced and take a drink and it did not work. Or if you're already loaded and you've hit the pipe and you want to take this your last hit and you take that hit and then it just disappears. You don't even get a smoke out. You can't even exhale smoke. And it's like, what happened? That was the end of it. Oh my God, the worst hit, the last one. Oh my God, what am I going to do? That is the worst feeling ever. And like I told you, I'm not gangster, so I ain't got no get down. Let's go out and I'm not gangster. Go out and rob the dope dealers and all that kind of stuff. I had two people I dealt with. I dealt with my friend from high school who sold ounces of cocaine, and I had the dope dealer that would come and pick it up. That's it. And in between, I take, I put my life on the line. You'd have an ounce. So I take a little bit of powdered cocaine and scoop it out with the long gold nail we had back in the day, if you wore nails like that, and scoop some out and replace it with flour. Do you know how dead I could have been? And then the dope dealer's trying to sell me, trying to, would pay me a little something, say, hey, I'm going to cook it in your kitchen. Go to cook it in your kitchen. And he's wondering why I won't come back. He didn't know he was baking a cake. He had no clue. And I turned around and played innocent because I was 5'2", maybe 100 pounds. I had these big brown eyes, and I could always shoot my way out of incidences. And I'd tell him, I'm going to let Mike know that something's wrong with it. There's too much cut on it or something. I don't know. I make up stuff. See, I'm the girl, even though I'm not a gangster, I did gangster stuff to a certain degree. I'm the girl that gets in the car with that same dope dealer. And we drive from Los Angeles in a 280Z. Y'all remember 280Zs? We drive and snort cocaine all the way up to Las Vegas, presidential suite. So that, and with the double doors, the joining doors you can't see on the other side, to serve for 3 days, to serve somebody high in the industry, serving them crack through the door. And I'm just there like nothing's wrong. What was wrong with me? It was Grace that wrapped its arms around me. There's no way. So when I did that last run and nothing happened and there was a voice, and for some reason, we have voices because I used to want to be an actor. So I can always make up a script, and I'd always practice in the mirror, and I like to sing. So I get that microphone, or I get that, and and I'd love to sing, and I'd hear these voices, and I'd play these roles. I'd play him, then I'd play her, and I'd do all these things. Well, that same insanity came without the drink. And when that voice head talks, I can tell the difference somewhat better now because I'm 37 years sober. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm 37 years sober, by the way, and I'm 65 years old. But that voice that used to talk to me and have me doing things, that same voice, it was different that night. And instead of coming from my cerebral part of my body, it came from somewhere right where my rib cage separates. It came from somewhere else, and it was almost a voice that was either internal, real deep, or it echoed outside of me. But it told me to go home that night. It was a Friday night. We had everything we wanted. It told me to go home. And for whatever reason, now the door of grace is not only cracked, but it's cracked open, but now it's giving me room to go through it. See, these are the languages I'm giving you now. I didn't know it then, but as I look back on my life, I'm able to describe what you guys describe so beautifully in your own stories, in the big book, and in our literature, the 12 and 12, and all these other books that I've read. So I go home and I detox. I go to a hospital to get checked out. The doctor gives me a directory. It was an AA directory from Northern and Southern California and parts of Mexico. But when I go to an AA meeting, you guys are talking about alcohol. I'm like, oh, this ain't the meeting for me. Just a cocaine addict. I don't know what it is about a lot of us. We come in as, I'm just a cocaine addict. And one of the things they used to give me the litmus test. And I used to ask people, did you ever drink if you ran out of dope? And a lot of times the ladies that I sponsor will say, yeah, I did drink when I ran out of dope. If they're, they say they're just cocaine heads. I said, okay, if you drank when you ran out of dope, why did you drink? Why did you drink? You wanted to come down. You wanted to go to sleep. Okay. Now, I do have some addicts. I have one sponsor that's a straight heroin addict, and I'm not here to but she's gone through the steps through the AA way, but she never, literally never drank any alcohol. But so that's why we say this is a self-diagnosed disease, because I can't tell you what your pain is. I can't tell you what your get down is. But once you admit to us that you have a problem with whatever it is, you guys got me into the room. You took my beer, you took my wine, you took whatever other drinking I had, Drambuie and White Russians and all those other experiments. Gin Gimlet turned out to be my favorite, and Long Island iced teas and zombies. And when you took that from me, you kept me so busy when I came into the rooms, I didn't have time to obsess. When I came into the rooms, what I liked is I like looking at your faces. I like everybody looking around and hugging and shaking hands and smiling, and the men smelled good and the women looked good just for a meeting. And it just was like, wow. And I immediately felt comfortable. I had that same sense of ease and comfort that comes at once by taking a drink, a hit, a fix, or a pill. I finally got that sense of ease and comfort and had 24 hours where I could go, that sense of ease and comfort hit me right away. And then to double down on that, I look up on the banners on the wall, and you mentioned the G word in step 3 and step 11. And then we opened up with a prayer, and you had some readings, and we closed with a prayer. And I'm a Catholic school girl, so I have a problem with the God concept. I have a problem with the spirituality. I don't know why I didn't have a problem. I'm not a scoffer. I don't fight things that I don't believe. I don't fight and scoff at things that seem like, oh, that's not believable. How are you able to tell the future? How are you able to heal by hands? How are you? I don't do that. Because what has happened in the transformation, and I'm going to do just like my sponsor, in the transformative powers of the steps, I've come to understand that my blinders I have tunnel vision. My blinders was on. I thought the problem was cocaine. And once you remove the cocaine and or whatever party favors you have, you're left with you. I was talking to a lady and I last night, it was so difficult because she was combative, Brenda. She wanted to fight me. And this is the deepest thing about it. She, right after the book study last night, she called me and she says, I think I need to do a 4-step. But then I was thinking about it. I'm not mad at anybody. I said, okay, been there. I've seen that before. Me, when I did my inventory, I had so many people. I had 300 and some people. And by the time I read them to Brenda's friend, she said, girl, that ain't no real resentment. Half of it I didn't even read because I was overwriting. When exactly like the 4 columns and the 3 parts, I overwritten. I want to get it all out. I was listening to a speaker last night and he said, no, but you don't understand. Let me finish the story. No, we understand. You're a hot ass mess. Your disease starts in your thinking, Leslie. It starts before you even open your mouth. You wake up with it. Anybody have the disease talking to them as soon as your eyes open and it's, oh my God, I got to do this. Oh God, last night I'm going to get that GSR. I can't say. That's how my mind works. And I ain't even took a snort, a hit, nothing. Then they told me I suffer from a spiritual malady. What does that mean? I went to Catholic school. I got my confirmation name is Marie. AK like Ralph's mom. The confirmation that my name is Leslie Renee Marie Strange. I had my first Holy Communion. I got baptized. I'm all of that. No, we ain't talking about the pomp and circumstances. We're talking about deep down in the soul. And then you told me if I take one, I'm allergic. If I take one, then the physical allergy kicks in and I got to keep feeding that monster like that movie, Little Shop of Horrors. Feed me Seymour. They killed somebody, fed it to the plant. The plant was making them kill other folks because it just kept getting hungry. The ego and my disease is never satisfied. I learned that through experience and your experience. So when I had that girl on the phone and she was telling me, okay, well, these are things that happened to me when I was 12. And I took her back to the books, jump into the 4th really quick, back to the book. And I said, go to the bottom of 64 and read that first sentence and stop. You know what I'm saying? So I'm trying to make a point. She says, well, I'm not mad at anybody. And there's somebody on here, I'm not angry. I've forgiven them all. That was a 19, whatever it is. And I'm okay and I'm good. And some people come out of that like, I don't think I need to do an inventory. First of all, you said, I don't think. They told me if I think I need to run and duck for cover from myself. Y'all, because excuse me, but shit splatters. And the stuff that goes on in my head is shit. So it splatters. Duck, run for cover. Leslie's thinking, oh. And then when she read it to me, she said, it said resentment is our number one offender. But then I told her, go to the top of the next page. And even though it's a fragmented sentence, read that. And it said, were we hurt or threatened? I said, so not only are we talking about resentments, because it's misinterpreted like I got to be fiery and mad about something that happened 20 on the surface right now in my face, pissed off. No. See, this disease is cunning, baffling, powerful. It's subtle. It's like Dr. Jekyll. It is like Jack the Ripper in the still of the night. In the heat of the night, it's coming for you, baby. And you can't see it coming because guess what? It's you. So I'm trying to explain to this lady, but what I've learned to do through me and my sponsor talking, we have so much in common. Fight you about this thing anymore. Oh, my ego had me so uptight if you didn't follow directions. Oh my God, I was just like, But you know what? One of the things that keeps me humbled is I have to ask myself, when have you been like that? Whether slightly on the spectrum or full blown. When have you did something that you weren't supposed to do, and you even asked your sponsor for direction and guidance, Leslie, and you still didn't do it? This girl fought me and says, okay, that happened when I was molested when I was 8, and I went to therapy and worked on it. So what's the point of doing a 4-step? I don't have a 4-step to do. Now, see, I'm not all the way healed. I had so many cuss words. I had Tourette's. I went into a Tourette spiral in the back of my head. But I can't do that today, Michelle. I can't do it today. I even gave her Brenda's number. Did you get a call last night, Brenda? Anyway, because for me, the way that I worked is I was resistant. And in step 1, I understood that I was powerless and my life was unmanageable. I thought maybe can't pay bills on time, can't do certain things. But as I came to stay, life unmanageable means that my thinking and my actions don't go together. Just because I think it is just a thought, that doesn't mean I have to make a move on it. Just because I plan and everything doesn't come out. If I plan a party, invite all of you guys, I can't make you guys all come. That's how I treat recovery. I have a plan, God laughs, and he goes on and does what he wants to do. But what I have to do is create the invitation. What I have to do is send out the invitation. I have to send out the flyers. I have to send it out, and you respond as you will. And then the cold part is I can't get mad if you didn't come. So when I found out that life unmanageable means my thinking and my actions are not coinciding. My insanity, I saw that. So I came in here on step 1, 2, and 3. I can't, somebody help me. Somebody, because I'm crazy and something's wrong and I can't stop. But you guys expanded on that. You said not only can't you stop, you can't not get started and you can't stay stopped. I said, oh my God. You guys gave me a diagnosis that terrified me. You gave me the spiritual AIDS. There is no curable but one. You gave me the 4-stage spiritual cancer diagnosis. Doctors can't do nothing with you. Oh, you can go to treatment and do all this. You gave me a diagnosis of doom and death. Not only did you give me the diagnosis, you gave me a book where this guy named Bill met this guy named Bob and all the stories in the back, and everybody has the same story. If I hadn't stopped, I'd be dead. What makes me think with my arrogant, mortal behind that I'm going to escape the doom? So I know what my insanity is, and not only the parts that I don't know, you guys were able to point it out in my life situations. my insanity, like getting mad at the job because they won't let me slide. I was on time. No, you came in exactly at 8 o'clock. That's not on time. That's late. And oh, they just picking on me. I'm always the victim. See why they got them? They don't like me because I'm cute. They don't like me because I'm black. They don't like me because the way I dress. I mean, I came up with every job, and the common denominator in every job was me. Didn't see it until you pointed it out to me. Then I get to the third step, and you guys said, okay, let's do the third step prayer. Making a decision. Okay, you asked me straight up, are you willing to turn your will in your life over to the care of God as you understand Him? Are you willing to turn your will in life over? I'm sorry, I don't know why this is word guys. Or my will in life over to the care of God as I understand Him. And I'm like, I guess so. I didn't even know what that meant. But you asked me the question, and everybody else looked like they was doing it, so I did. Yes, I parroted. I followed like a zombie. I had no clue. I needed a seeing eye dog, and all of y'all were it. I needed the white cane with the red tip. In fact, I was Helen Keller. Couldn't speak, couldn't talk, couldn't see. But you were able to communicate through my blind spots and my denial what was wrong with me. And while you told me, yeah, baby, you pretty effed up, and you stroked me and hugged me and loved me, you told it to me as softly and gently. You also had the same thing I had. How can I not believe you? And they say, you're going to give it to God, or in the meantime, the book talked about, are you going to use a substitute? Use us until you get a better. Well, I said, I got a God. No, you need a better understanding of a God. Why? Because I knew there was a power out there, and I called it God. But I just didn't trust it and believe it. Way back when my mother would be crying, let's go way back. When my mother would be crying, sitting on the side of her bed, rocking and crying, and I'm sitting there going, what's wrong? And she said nothing and dismisses me. Now my intuition, my basic instincts are thwarted. They're distorted. I'm not believing what I see because you're telling me what I'm seeing isn't real and so on. Horrible. I see this says 9 seconds, but I have 3 seconds and 52, 3.52. Is that okay, Joel? I have 7 minutes. Oh,
9
okay.
minutes.
9 minutes. Okay, that says 50. Okay, thank you. So, thank you so much. I was starting to rush. Okay. So when I get into this program and you get me into a space of not only are you telling me the truth, and not only is the truth stabbing me in my soul, in my heart, that I'm doomed, but then you're hugging me while you're telling me, yeah, but we got you. I think the first time I was really truly able to trust people as a whole was in the room of Cocaine Anonymous. I think that was the first time in my whole life. And I so liked it, and I liked the way that it made me feel. I'll say the word feel. You guys made me feel wanted. I no longer felt like the littlest girl in the classroom that had to stand, and when they used to line you up according to height, I'd be the littlest one in the front. Or the girl that didn't have the long Farrah Fawcett flip back because my hair wouldn't grow long enough. Or the girl who would go through the afro point of life where my afro wouldn't grow so big, I had to do things to make it blow out. Or the girl with the skinny legs and the big feet. You guys didn't even look at any of that. And if you did, you played it off so well, thank you. You just hugged on me and you loved on me and you told me about me. And you told me about you. So when you told me on that fourth step, here's the switch. You said, we love you. And we're happy you got 30, 60, 90 days or whatever it was. But now we got to do more work. I'm like, wait a minute. I didn't have an obsession to drink. Why? Like I said earlier, because you guys kept me so busy. Okay, there's a morning meeting. Then there's a noon meeting. Then everybody goes out to eat. By the time we get ready to come back, it's a 5 o'clock meeting, 5:30 meeting for the people to get off work. Then there's a 7 o'clock meeting. And then after that, there's a candlelight meeting. That's like 5 meetings. And then we start all over again. And not only that, we're jumping from one meeting place, from CA to AA. We're all going in a big herd. There was a whole crew of us that we would roll to different meetings. On Sundays, you went here. On Mondays, you went here. On Tuesdays, you went here. And I loved it. I wasn't working. I was off on disability because, again, I'm blaming the job. And I'm sitting there and I'm going to meetings with you guys, and I loved it. You guys' love kept me from getting more than one white check. I felt at home. I felt at peace. My mother used to go with me. She even liked it. So when we got to the fourth step, he said, you're going to turn it over. And you guys said this prayer. And of course, I didn't know prayer by heart. It took me years to learn that third step prayer. Because the third step prayer, I'm an artist as far as singing and stuff, but it didn't rhyme and I couldn't remember it. And you said, God, we offer ourselves to you, God, to build with us and do with us as you will. Relieve us from the bondage of self so that we can better hear, see, and do your will. In fact, God, can you take away difficulties, fancy the storytelling difficulties or the real difficulties, so that when I win over those difficulties without getting loaded, I can go out and tell somebody else. May I do your will always. And to be relieved of the bondage of self means I'm not looking to get anything out of anything when I come into these rooms. This altruistic, service-minded, even the doctor's opinion said, trust what they say. These people are kind. They do this stuff for fun and for free. Joey ain't got paid jack. Inbal ain't got paid nothing. Brenda ain't got paid nothing. But I dare to differ. You know what I'm saying? Leslie, my friend, she ain't got. Billy, you ain't got paid nothing. Monica, I know you ain't got paid nothing. And I think about that. I'm like, you know what? I spend more man hours talking to other alcoholics and addicts than any job I've ever had. But the rewards are priceless. The satisfaction of coming in and somebody doing what was done for me. You guys tell me, pick up the pen. We're going to do these resentments. We're going to do these fears. We're going to look at your sex conduct, your character when you're in relationships, intimate relationships. And then we're going to gain from that. We're going to glean from that what your defects and shortcomings are and what fear looks like. And fear is the thing that catapults all of this. And then you're going to take me and say, these are your defects, these are your shortcomings and your assets. These are what you're good at. And these are things you need to improve on. And then you take me over and say, okay, who do you need to make amends to and who do you need to forgive? And I'm like, for years, I didn't know about the forgiveness part. No wonder every time I made amends to my mom, she turned right around and she'd accept my amends and she'd be glad. And then the next day she would say something or do something that was so egregious, I went right back into hate mode again. Because I expected, I tried to misuse the 8th and 9th step for my own profit and my own gain. I thought it was going to help me not be mad at you. So I could be, I had motives when I did my first few inventories because I wanted me to reap the benefits. But when I found out later on that those benefits really weren't for me, they were for other people to be relieved of the bondage of me. Because I have your ass bound up. I'll either have you mad, happy, thinking you're going to have more sex, thinking you're going to have more sex. Using my body as a cash coupon. I was a cash cow, literally. You know what I'm saying? Manipulating, playing innocent. I mean, I'm so sick with it, and I'm going to say something I never say. I'm so sick with it to get a boy to like me and keep liking me. He always said I was pregnant. Now, I don't know how many women on here played that game. Played that a lot. That's the sickest, meanest thing you could do. That is, okay, maybe I'm the only one out here that's that crazy, but that is insane. And some of you men have gotten your head slammed because you probably had a girl in your life that said it. You gave her the money and she went and bought some shoes. Oh, that was me. Sorry. So there's something wrong with my soul. There's something in the makeup of my body, in my soul. There's something in my basic instincts that said, one is not enough. 1,000 is too many. One is not enough. I have the desperation of more. I want some more. Get money, I want some more. Get a house, I want 2 more. Everything is more. So when you tell me you take me through this process, and the reason why you took me through the process, and I take others through the process, because I'm blocked from the sunlight of the spirit. I'm blocked from God. I can't see God. I can't hear God. In fact, in the 5th step, in the 12 and 12, it says that God comes disguised. My ego comes disguised as God. My ego comes disguised as God. So the question is, how do you know if it's your ego talking or if it's actually the Most High? That is why you need a CNI dog called Brenda M. Because my ass is blind. I'm Leslie Magoo. Remember the TV? I can't see nothing. And even at 37 years, I'm still off. Why? Because with 37 years, I'm still considered green when it comes to dealing with spiritual matters. I dare not go them alone. So the reason for the fourth is to clear the pathway. It's like coming into your house after a long vacation. You smell it and you go, oh my God, I didn't take the trash out before I left. And you smell the fish paper or the whatever. Oh my God, it stinks. So you got to what? Get the trash cans. And I don't know about you. I'm bougie with my trash bags. I got to have the Febreze one. So when I go and I put that new trash bag in there, you know what I'm saying? Oh, it smells good. And that smell immediately leaves. Well, that's what it is in my soul. If I don't empty that garbage pit called my spirit, I'm putting trash on top of trash, putting lipstick on a pig. I'm a dressed up hooker. I'm the pretty girl with the dirty underwear. I'm that girl. It took me 18 months to do that. And I could tell you a billion stories, but I'm just going through the steps because I'm following Brenda's lead. And then when I did my fifth steps are the most relieving. It's like X-Lax on steroids. It is the best thing ever. Now, it doesn't feel like I'm coming. It doesn't feel like it when you're doing it, but once you've done it, you be like, okay. And that what I say to people, sit down, relax, relax, relax. And look at what you just done. You just told some stuff. And you do it over and over. Real quick, what I'm like today is I'm seeking higher ground. I'm always seeking higher ground. I'm a little more serious now with this thing. I'm more contemplative. You call it meditation. I'm more contemplative. I sit back and I observe more. Ralph White, I give him credit for that because I've learned how to hear things I don't agree with, hear things that, whatever, and I've learned how to keep this closed. I learned how to just be quiet. I learned how to keep my face poker sometimes. I've even learned on these meetings, even if I'm not speaking, it's my resting bitch face. You anybody know what an RBF is? My resting bitch face is no longer this. If you want to see what your face looks like, look in your Zoom camera. Instead of being like this, most of the time you see me like this. Why? Because I had to practice this. Why? Because I have to stay in gratitude. Why? Because when I'm in gratitude, I'm less fearful. You want to take some medicine for your fear? Get a gratitude list. Get in service with somebody else. Call a sponsor. Call a sponsee. Call somebody that's doing worse than you, that got less time than you. Hey, and don't talk about you. See, today I monitor my face. That's why a lot of times when Ralph's on here, I can't look at his face because his face be looking like, now all through Brenda, this is what my head, I'm gonna tell you how sick I am. All through Brenda, he was like this. Let me straight say it. This, because I look at everybody, and he's gonna be the first one I look at. He like this. As soon as I come, he like this. That's my magic magnifying mind. He's not thinking about me, but my thinking is that he's thinking about me, that he don't like what I'm saying. So now all of a sudden he ain't paying me no attention. Now when I get off this meeting, I'm gonna be pissed off because now he's smiling because I mentioned his damn name, but he wasn't smiling before. In fact, most of the time when I do speak, he ain't smiling. See, I go right back in self. Sorry, using you. I go right back in self. Why? Because that's my default. That's what my knee jerk is. That's what I've been doing all my life. It's all about me. You hurt my feelings. You made me feel bad. You made me feel unwanted. You hurt me. I had given you sex when I didn't want to because I was scared you going to leave. All of that garbage. But what has happened is the transformative thing is ongoing, never ending. I'm getting better and better, and I'm seeking higher ground, and I'm going to keep going high because a lady told me that was my sponsor for 20 years when Brenda disappeared on me. She didn't disappear on me. When she left, she told me, keep your eye on the prize. Look to the hills. Keep your like this. A lot of time when I'm talking, you see me do like this because I'm searching for spirit and I'm opening my spirit self and saying, give me what you want me to tell them, because I don't do anything with the guidance without the guidance of the Most High or a representative like Brenda M. I don't do anything today. Today I'm at total peace with or without anything today. Just make sure I got my big book. Hopefully I got a phone and I can get on a meeting. Let me have that. Let me have that. But I got a God that will contradict everything that I thought I ever knew, even today. He will rearrange my perspective on life matters, spiritual matters, and people. He will shift it and he will change it. And he said, no, look at it this way. Then I'll call Brenda and validate it. And he always validates through something I see or somebody tells me something, because I've been transformed into believing one dimensional. If you say you want to go get a reading from a spirit head, go get that reading. If you say you believe in chakras and crystals, them crystals and them chakras. If you believe in all these other things that seem unbelievable, of course they seem unbelievable, because God is broad, he's roomy, he's all-inclusive. He's beyond my little finite thinking. So I believe in all things. I don't care if you're Ifa, Yoruba, Christian, Buddha, Hindu, whatever you do. Just make sure that you don't use you as God, because that's what got you with the last name like mine. My name is Leslie, and I'm a recovering alcoholic and an addict. Thank you for listening.